I feel like I'm on a journey with the plants and my relationship to the earth and health and wellness. And I feel like things come as they need to and they show up if I trust that. And the plants have really taught me that. So. To be flexible, adaptable, and resilient is my definition of health. And so if we're bringing in health and wellness and helping people be strong, then they can be more flexible, adaptable, and resilient. It doesn't mean we have to be fixed or well or perfect, you know. I was introduced to plants by my first herbal mentor, Jeline Tripp Weaver. I was working with her. I was a social worker working with people living with AIDS. And she introduced me to plants and started taking me out foraging and became my first herbal mentor. And it just really captured me. The plants just started speaking to me and inviting me to work with them. And she kept inviting me out to learn to harvest and prepare them, and introduced me to the work of my next teacher, which was Susan Weed. I just really was fascinated by the plant world and the fact that plants have the ability to nourish us, and that we could go out in nature and be with them and connect with them and touch them and feel them. And so right away that was my introduction. For 20 years I've apprenticed and studied with Isla Burgess from New Zealand, who is a medical herbalist. So I've learned a lot about relationship to plants from her. Being someone who's been working with plants for a good 25 years very purposefully, because that's how long ago that was, I went on to work in an herb shop after that. And it was really interesting because in the herb shop we mostly were looking at dried herbs in jars. And that wasn't my orientation, it wasn't my introduction. So I'd be looking in these jars and going, like this isn't connecting, like there was something missing in that aspect. And so one of my coworkers there, I would come in and talk about the plants I would see that week, and you know, this is blooming and that is blooming, and she just looked at me and said, I really want to spend time with you. And she started coming to my house every week, and that started me offering weekly apprenticeship programs myself and mentoring people. And it was really beautiful because it just happened. I offer an apprenticeship in the lineage of these women that I've studied with, and bring in, you know, Susan Weed calls it the wise woman tradition, and that tradition has this lineage. It's a folk tradition. It's a tradition that's passed on orally from person to person. It's like learning from your grandmother, right? So you go and spend time with your grandmother in her kitchen, in her garden, and learn how to make medicines and foods.
Depending on what you specifically need, what you came to the program for, what your goals are as a budding herbalist, as she likes to put it, which is really beautiful. It's really much more of a relationship building, community oriented container that she holds, where you walk out of it having a community and having a mentor that's always there for you.
Linda's so good at like pushing you forward to keep seeking, you know, to keep gathering information.
I actually met Linda when I was a teenager, but it wasn't until a couple of years ago that I did the wild food and medicine internship with her. Definitely changed my life for the better.
Having the relational support from a mentor is much like having the relationship with the plants themselves, that it's there for you and it's solid and it means something that can really change your life.
I am really honored to be able to mentor people and to be in this role. It almost makes me want to cry because it's not something I went out and said, oh, I'm going to do this. It was my teachers modeling it for me, and then someone asking me to do it. I run the Midwest Women's Herbal Conference and, you know, the other events, the Mycelium Mysteries. And so I do that, but the apprenticeship is one of the most important heartbeats of what I do. I feel like it's a way to pass on a heritage and a lineage that belongs to women, and that we bring that out of our kitchen and our hearths.
I have come to learn and appreciate Linda on a deep level. She's a fierce advocate for her student. She's a deeply caring individual, and she's showing up for the community, and she's really taking root and showing what an herbal community can look like. And then we can take that and spread that out into our communities. So she's having this ripple effect.
working with this term regenerative herbalism is becoming really this other heartbeat for me, because it feels really necessary in all of our arenas to start to do things that contribute rather than take away. So my products have always been about education, not about making large batch products and becoming, wealthy from herbal products. Natural health actually is the fastest growing industry in the world. And it really is disappointing to me because it shouldn't be an industry. I mean, we're talking about our relationship to the earth and to the plants and to wellness and well-being. And we're talking about, every village used to have a healer, no matter what tradition it was. That doesn't have to be global. It doesn't have to be a marketplace. And marketplace herbalism is very different than earth-centered relational herbalism from my perspective. And so I'm looking at this regenerative approach. And so even in my consultations, when I'm working with people, I'm really interested in having a relationship with them, bringing my relationship with plants as a way to be an ambassador for the plants and to be a facilitator of a meeting of a person and plants.
I feel like one of the most important things that I've learned from Linda is building our relationship with the plants, which in order to do that, you have to do that with yourself.
Nourishment is not just about nourishing your body. It's about being in communion with the land and the plants and the earth and really understanding the systems, the spirituality involved with your sense of place and where your food is coming from.
The medicine that we need grows at our feet. There's not really much that we need to heal ourselves and to be healthy that doesn't grow in our own environment.
I'm choosing herbs and I'm looking at the remedies and I'm looking at the person, not only for that person's healing, but for the earth's healing as well. Thinking about everything we do in our herbal work in terms of, having it be earth-centered, relational, and focused on healing the whole, not just ourselves.